Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Dual Screens podcast. My name is Andy, and it's only Andy this week because Steven is out. Because, he's a busy man. I can't fault him for that. But fortunately for me, I am joined by Rick Sorgdrager. And I hope I
Yeah,
got
good
that
effort.
right.
Good effort, Andy. Hi, everyone. Yes, Sorgdrager.
Yes, Rick is the game designer slash writer over at Roost Games, developer of Cat Cafe Manager, a
Yes.
cafe management sim where you befriend local cats and townsfolk, forge lasting friendships, unravel catty mysteries, and build a home for dozens of unique felines. Rick, welcome
Wow.
to the show.
Wow, that was an amazing pitch there. Thanks for doing my job for
Well,
me.
I stole it from your Steam page, so you've done the work for me already.
Oh,
That's the best part about that. It's a quick copy and paste job. Rick, how are you,
hi.
dude? How are you?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's we're 2 days away from releasing Cat Cafe Manager. So it's very exciting times. Yeah, we're
What's
recording this on a Tuesday
yeah,
and we'll be releasing on a Thursday.
yeah. And this is out on the Friday, so it's all in the same week. It's all happening
Okay.
quick
So
quick
yeah,
turnaround.
if you're listening to this, it'll have released yesterday.
Yeah, yes. So what's happening inside in the innards of you being so close
Oh,
to the launch date?
I mean, it's fairly chill in my innards. My innards are relaxed and in control. I So Roost Games, we're like a pretty small studio. We're 4 people, but all of us have worked together at this other Dutch studio. We're all Dutch, called Abbey Games. So we have some releases under our belt. So
Okay.
yeah, so I've released 3 other video games before this
Oh,
one,
it's
all
old
on
hat.
PC.
You've done this
It's,
before.
I mean, it's not entirely old hat because this is the first time that we're doing it like where we're not working for an employer.
Mm,
So in that sense, it's all brand new.
the stakes are higher
But
this time
the
around.
stakes are a little bit higher, but I've definitely learned to control my nerves. Although, if you're going to talk to me on Thursday, I'll probably give you a pretty different answer. But I'm doing okay so far.
I'll reach out Thursday to be like, oh my God, the game's here. Be calm. Everything's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'll be streaming all Thursday, so that's one way to
Amazing.
calm my nerves, is just be on the internet.
So I want to ask you before we get into what the game is about, how it plays, all those fun little mechanics.
Yes.
Where where does a game like this come from? Because if I was an
Oh.
aspiring indie dev, I would probably go to what I know most, horror. And there's lots of horror games, cinema, influences, inspirations. It's out there.
Mm.
It's easy. I can cherry pick and look.
Yeah.
How do you build a game like this that doesn't really exist ish in the gaming sphere? A cat cafe manager.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of 2 things. So for one, we are like building on a lot of our experiences, both making and playing management games.
Hmm.
So for example, I grew up on Harvest Moon, which
Oh,
like the harvest like building or yeah, farm building simulator for the Super Nintendo. So that is sort of where I come from. But then Rutger, our programmer, he's played a lot of like Factorio and like more intense, I guess, management games like that. So you'll be seeing both of those influences kind of fighting for control in Cat Cafe Manager. Uh, and there's the fact that I lived in Japan for 1 year back in 2013, before cat cafes were all over our beautiful planet. They were really just in Japan. So I
right.
went to one there, and just the interaction between me, a customer, and then the cats, who didn't really want anything to do with me, and the staff, who were doing their best to have me interact with these cats that wanted nothing to do with me, made me think like, oh, this needs to be a game. Like, I need to make a game about this, because my brain is poisoned from making games for that long. So ever since then, it's been rattling around in my head, working on little prototypes and things like that. But then in at the end of 2019, when me and again Rutger, the programmer, were sitting down, and we were like, okay, we're gonna make something. And I was like, well, how about people love cats, and we both love making management games. So let's make a management game about cats.
It's incredible. Yeah, Japan has the best ideas. So this was nearly a maid cafe manager, is what I'm hearing, because that's
Oh,
another
brother. I
another
mean,
huge thing.
I've been to a maid cafe as well, and
Mhm.
I did not think I want to make a game about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, as have I. And I'll tell you, man, that's a trippy place to be.
Mm,
It's a whole
yeah,
other.
it was fun. It was funny in hindsight, but at the time it was pretty awkward.
Yeah,
So no
it's
awkwardness bar in our game, or like awkward mechanic or
telling
something.
you, like, just to go on
Yeah,
a slight Japan tangent, they just do
yeah, go
things
for it.
differently there. When I've been there 3 times in my whole life,
Hmm.
even like a burlesque show is very subtle and relaxed. Like everyone respects the performers. There's like light golf
Yeah,
clapping.
so it's not like the raunchy
Yeah,
affair.
there's no hooting and hollering. It's a classy affair.
Mm,
People are having dinner.
yeah,
It's really really cozy, and
it's
it's
pretty.
a
It's a
bit of a
pretty
mind
chill
fuck.
country.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a pretty chill country for a place that's so busy and packed. It's pretty
right.
chill.
So walk us through what the gameplay loop looks like in Cat Cafe Manager. What are we doing? How are we managing the cafe? How do the cats play into the whole affair? Give us the whole
Sure.
spiel.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit going on, but at the basic level, you are a character. You create your own character, and you can run around the cafe using, like your analog stick, pressing buttons to make coffee or talk to people, etc., or pet cats as well.
Of course.
And every day you open up your cafe, and customers will basically start pouring in. And depending on how you've sort of built up your cafe, because there's a design tool that you can use to, like, you can buy different kinds of furniture, you can build the floor plan, all that goodness. Customers will come in, and every customer has certain needs that they would like to see met. And the better that you meet those needs, the more resources they will give you. And one of their biggest needs, of course, is to hang out with cats. So that's where the cats come in. Cats also run around the cafe, like you mentioned in the little pitch that you gave. There is a sort of collection aspect to the game where you are adopting the stray cats in the village. Each cat has its own statistics and its own needs also, just like customers. So they want food, they want to play, they want to relax, etc. And you also got to make sure that your cat's needs are fulfilled, because if they're not fulfilled, they won't hang out with your customers. So there's sort of like a little chain there. Uh, there are different kinds of customers that visit your cafe. You have some control over who visits. So for example, witches, it's sort of like a little pastoral fantasy world. Witches will visit, or fishermen, etc. And they want radically different things, both different kinds of cats, as well as different kinds of furniture that they like to see, different kinds of food on your menu. So you're constantly sort of collecting new furniture, new recipes, new cats to meet the ever-growing demands of your customers, collect resources, and use those to grow your cafe. Yeah, that's sort of the loop there.
How do you like meet everyone's needs? Is it like, are folks going to be turned off at some point if you're, let's say you're trying to manage one person's needs? Is another
Hmm.
customer going to be turned off by, like, oh, you're placating to the witch? Like, I don't like that furniture. Do they play off each other in that way, or is it just
The world of Cat Cafe Manager is a very wholesome place, and no one would ever begrudge someone else for getting a nice cup of tea. So no, basically there's two kinds of needs. There's like what we call active needs and passive needs. And passive needs are like, I would like, a witch might like it if there's a bunch of plants in your cafe. So if you've managed to purchase a bunch of plants, put them in nice spots, if they see them and walk in, they'll be like, oh, that makes me happy. And their like little satisfaction bar goes up. Active needs are more like someone, like a fisherman that really enjoys just sitting down and having a nice conversation with some of your waiting staff or you. Uh, they'll have like a little icon appear over their heads, and you have to walk over and press the button or to take an order, you'd have to go walk over to the kitchen to make their coffee, etc. So those are more like active things that you need to do. And you can also, through the game, hire staff members that will sort of automate some of those processes in the cafe to maybe make life on you, the player, a little bit easier, so you can spend time also like making sure your cats are fed, adopting new cats, and going to town to buy stuff, that kind of thing.
Now, you mentioned, or I mentioned when I stole from your little Steam page there,
Mhm.
something that you refer to as catty mysteries.
Ooh,
Go into
yes.
what the hell catty mysteries are. Are you like a part-time sleuth solving like
A little bit. So there's some story as well in the game, which is expressed in two ways. One is the regulars. So there's a couple of named NPCs
I
that
love
will keep
that.
visiting your cafe over and over again, and they're not quite like so you've got just like generic customers like
Mhm.
witch, but then you also have Carla Lala, who is a
Mhm.
witch, but she's like a named character.
She's got a
And
name.
exactly, she's a little bit tougher to please than the other witches, but you also like, if you make her happy, you can have little conversations with her and learn more about her and the town that you live in, called Caterwall. And the other way that these catty mysteries is, there's this thing called the cat shrine. So the town that you live in, Caterwall, is filled with stray cats for some reason. And your grandma used to own a cat cafe there, and you're sort of there to rebuild her legacy, if you will. And one way that you're doing that is by renovating this ancient, mysterious shrine dedicated to cats that's deep off in the woods. And you're convinced to do so by a mysterious talking black cat that may or may not have nefarious intent. I won't say anything regarding that, but as you sort of renovate the shrine and learn more about the town and why are all these stray cats there, you'll slowly piece together that some stuff went down here in the past, and you might need to know about that to prevent future disaster.
Yeah,
Deadly disasters.
cats with evil intent sounds par for the course for cats.
Honestly,
I'm
yeah,
a I'm
yeah.
a I'm a dog guy myself, so listen,
Don't tell don't
nothing
tell
against
anyone, but I might be a
yeah.
dog guy as well.
Nothing against cats or cat lovers, but I don't know. There's something a little off about the way I think a cat's affection just looks and feels differently than what a dog can give you. But
Yes, for sure.
there's it's like I think a dog is unconditional and the cat's like there's conditions with the affection they give you.
Exactly, like I said, cats have needs, right? Their needs need to be met, and then they're willing to hang out with you.
Oh man.
Um, but yeah, that like, actually, like, getting the cats right was one of the things that I don't know that we struggled with it, but we sort of worked on during development, because in the early prototypes that I was making, you sort of like, customers would come in and they would like to spend time with specific cats, and you as the player could just like pick up a cat and like give it to the customer, like, here you go. And we were playing,
This
we were
is yours
testing,
now.
yeah, and we were testing that, and everyone's like, that's not what cats do. That's not how that
That's not what
works.
stores do. Like, here's a cup of coffee and your cat to go. There
And
you
your
go.
cat to go. Yeah, I don't know. So that idea actually came from when I did go to a cat cafe, and I managed to, so the cats wanted nothing to do with me, but I managed to sort of woo a cat over to come relax, and I was petting it. And then a staff member came over and was like, no, you're doing it wrong. That cat wants to be slapped on the ass. So I was like, oh, I'm not sure I'm comfortable doing this, but hey, that's what the cat
No, I
wants.
don't want to kink shame the cats, but
Exactly. Yeah. Don't yuck any cat's yums. But the cat was into it. And then when I left, that same person came over to me and said, oh, Nico, the name of the cat was, Nico really enjoyed their time with you today. Here's their business card. And I got a little card with Nico's little portrait on it. And they said, like, hey, next time you're in, you want to see Nico, just, show us the card. I was like, this is bizarre. Didn't manage to get that in the game, sadly, the business cards, but yeah.
imagine if they started paying you to slap Nico on the ass. Then it's like a whole other career for you.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a whole different kind of
what have I
cafe.
stumbled into? Like,
Yeah,
Nico wants his
sadly,
backhand butt slap. Here's your $10, sir. Just come
yeah,
in.
sadly, I just became a game developer. which is like spiritually similar, but not quite the same thing.
You could always fall back on that. Listen, you'll know you'll know in the few days when the game goes out what how this will all turn out.
I need to fly back to Japan. I need to try this alternate career path. But yeah, so that's the Catly mysteries.
Yeah, it sounds like no one ever watched Price is Right in this town. You got to spay and neuter your animals. Yet there's stray cats. I know why there's stray cats.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's mysterious magical reasons in the world of Cat Cafe Manager that have nothing to do with the logistics of.
I love it. There's like that layer of fantasy over this very grounded cafe management simulation game, which is just, again, it adds to the bonkers level. It just it feels right at home with what a game like this is going to do. It's like, of course it has supernatural elements. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it have that in the game?
Yeah, like we watched a bunch of Ghibli movies before we started.
There it
like,
is. Yeah.
Me and Karma, the artist, like we watched a bunch of Ghibli movies. And so we knew that we wanted to do some weirder stuff with it.
Mm. You know, this word came up before, and I think it really encapsulates the whole game. Wholesome. I think it really is the best word to describe a game like this. There's a whole genre of wholesome games that exist.
Yeah,
now.
it's a whole thing now.
Yeah, these whole like feel goody, stress-free kind of games. And I'm here wondering, does a game like this that is as wholesome as it looks, does it have a fail state? What does failure look like? Can the cats turn on you? Can the cats die if you
a cat revolt would be pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a thing that we're actually kind of proud of, is that so Cat Cafe Manager, we always wanted it, like the way that we pitched it when we started working on it was a relaxing business sim. Like we've played a lot of games that are sort of like play around with the idea of labor, like work games. Like running a farm is work, but it's still a game.
Right.
And those can sometimes be more stressful than I think me or some other people that play those types of games would like. So we always wanted Cat Cafe Manager to be relaxing. And it's definitely throughout development, it's a thing that we kept having to fall back on. Because yeah, eventually, or at some point, we had it in the game that based on how well you did, you would earn less income, which would mean that you might have to fire some of your staff or like let some of your cats go, like maybe find a new home for them or whatever. And or like you said, like your cats could get sick if they didn't eat enough. And it was, I don't know, there was a grim affair, but it was more like stressful than we wanted it to be. So we started working that out slowly but surely. So the game as it is right now, there is challenge to the game. Like I said, your customers can leave super happy and relaxed or like as stressed out as they came in. But the only thing that happens is that they will pay you less resources. And the game is also real time. So like they will, if they just sit there, eventually they'll leave. The day will end eventually, and your cafe will close and everyone will pack up their bags and go. So there is sort of like a time pressure element to it. And because there's that time pressure element, we didn't want to also like penalize you super hard, especially players that aren't looking for an experience where you're constantly firing on all cylinders and optimizing every single little thing. Although you could play the game that way, it would just mean that you would progress through the game and the game story maybe a little bit quicker than someone else.
Yeah, I love when my sim games feel like work.
Yeah, I like legitimately, like honestly,
yeah,
like
I love like it's a second job when I'm playing a video game.
I played Harvest Moon as a kid, and Harvest Moon in a lot of ways is just labor play.
Yeah.
And it's a space that I think is super interesting. Like I don't think work inherently has to be like negative, like boring or a negative experience.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like when you change up the incentives, right? The incentives become, well, if I put time into this game and I spend time watering my crops, you know, walking over to this one, press the B button, walk over to the next one, press the B button. It's gonna allow me to build like a really cool farm and make a bunch of friends in the game world. Like it's a different kind of incentive than I'm doing this to pay rent. you know?
Right. Like I watch my fiance play Animal Crossing or
Yeah.
Stardew Valley. I'm like, at what point has this stopped feeling like a fun game for you? Because it feels like you're managing what the game wants you to do to
Hmm.
just upkeep and maintenance. It feels like a chore at this point because you've gotten so far in the game. Now it's like, well, I gotta do my dailies on this, gotta do my dailies on that. It's like, well, are you playing a game now, or is it work?
Yeah.
Are you
I
clocking
mean,
in to the game and clocking
I
out?
I I personally I sometimes love doing a good chore. Like I spent today cleaning up the apartment and it feels great. When I play Tetris, I think, what am I actually achieving here? This is really just
Well, now you've gone from the most stress-free game to the most stress-inducing
yeah, that's
game.
true. But like you know, like all you're doing is matching shapes and
Mm,
clearing out the board, like you're
right.
cleaning up digital dirt in a way. Um, so I kind of get that. Are you like Andy? Are you more into like the sort of active? You mentioned horror games, like those
Yeah,
types
I'm
of games, or
very like,
have you dabbled?
I do kind of dip my toes in all of the metaphorical
Mm-hmm.
lakes of the gaming
Mm,
sphere, as it were, but I tend to stray more towards like I'm more of a horror guy, role playing, action adventure, story
yeah,
driven sort of titles. But yeah, like those, like, but a game like this, I feel like it's so downplayed enough where it's like the nuts and bolts is it's a cafe, you're managing it, it's pick up and go, there's cats. That speaks to me.
yeah,
Stardew Valley is like, I gotta manage all these crops, I gotta go into caves and fight and mine for
yeah. Stardew Valley has a
mining for
lot going
minerals. It's like,
on.
no, I can't. That's why I can't get into Minecraft. It's like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I totally get that. And one thing that we want to do with Cat Cafe Manager as well, which I also think something like Stardew Valley does super well, is give the if you're playing the game, give you the ability to sort of plan ahead, sort of make
Mm,
plans. Like, what do you want the cafe to look like? Like, are you going to collect a like, are you going to go make an entire American diner? You know, there's like a bunch of furniture you can collect. This cat cafe is going to look like an American diner for some reason, or you're going to combine two different kinds of furniture and sort of like maybe you want only a specific breed of cat to hang around. Um, so we're constantly sort of like asking the player, okay, what do you want to work towards? What do you want to unlock next? And then by playing the game as efficiently as possible, or a little bit slower, if that's your speed, you'll be able to sort of like achieve those goals and sort of start, making the cat cafe of your dreams. That's the hope anyway.
yeah, I do want to get into that. How customizable is the cafe? Because I'm thinking back now to games that are like this. I was playing a game called
Mm-hmm.
Good Pizza, Great Pizza. It's like a pizza
Ooh,
shop management.
I have not played this, but it
Yes,
sounds
yeah.
like my thing.
So you're taking orders from customers and you're just putting toppings on a pie and like putting it in the oven and like being mindful of what they're saying because
Mm-hmm.
they speak in code sometimes.
Nice.
So it's hard to tell, like, do you want that well done? Like, let's say I want the works. Like, okay, is that like the works vegetarian
Mm-hmm.
style? It's okay. So it's all the veggies, no meats. So
Yeah,
it's very like a cerebral game too. Like
I like
how
that.
well are you paying attention? But
Yeah.
the shop itself, the storefront, you could only do so much to customize it. In this game, how, like, will there be no two cafes that look alike out there once the game is in everyone's hands? How deep are those options? Do you
Yeah,
think?
I think so. I would like to think that there's no two cafes that look alike.
Mm.
So basically, when you start the game, it's a top-down perspective game. I should have probably said that a little bit earlier. And
I
you're
should have
looking
been in
at
my
like
sales
a,
pitch. God damn
it's
it.
fine. You copy pasted it, and you're looking at a big open field, essentially, just like a big field of grass in the middle of the woods. There's like a road at the bottom. That's where people come in, and you can sort of create your cafe's floor plan in that field. The field's really big. I have not managed to fill it up in my playing. Uh, it's sort of whatever configuration you like. So if you want to make like a bunch of different rooms that have different themes, you can totally go for that. In addition to that, there's wallpapers you can unlock and floor tiles. So if you want to, like, I don't know, make like a very classy, like wood paneled cafe, you could do that. And like I mentioned, there's a whole bunch of different furniture sets as well different kinds of kitchen appliances for you to collect. And so you can sort of arrange your kitchen in whatever way you want as well. I enjoy like making a cafe where the kitchen is sort of in the cafe itself, like an open
Oh,
kitchen
I
sort of
like
deal.
that.
Yeah, sort of like people are sitting around the kitchen.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, you can do that kind of a thing, or you could make it like like a sequestered little zone where your
Mhm.
staff can work in peace. Um, I've seen people make like little rooms for the cats as well, like because you have to put down like toys and food and litter boxes and that kind of a thing, and you can kind of put those wherever you'd like. But if you feel like it, and some people get way into this, you can make like a little cat hotel over on the side with like little cat toys and things like that. And we also put in some like wallpaper to sort of support that, like, oh, this is the cat's area. It's got like little paws on the wall and that kind of a thing. Um, so yeah, there's a bunch of stuff to unlock and a bunch to do in regards to customization.
That is, yeah, because I feel like half the game is tinkering with the actual layout and getting it to your look and how you want it. And then, well, I gotta play more to unlock more goodies, and then it just gets better. And that's the progression in a way. It's like you're just building the cafe of your dreams with all these little kitty
Yeah, for
cats
sure.
running around.
Yeah, and like unlike some games, all those goodies also have like influence on the gameplay, like influence the gameplay layer as well. Like I mentioned, like witches want to see a bunch of plants. If you've got artists, like if you're say you really want to make sure that all the artists that visit your cafe are happy, because I didn't mention this earlier, but every type of customer pays a different sort of resource that you can spend on different things. So if you're like, I want to buy a bunch of cool furniture, I need jewels to do so, and artists pay out in jewels. So I'm going to get a bunch of art to hang up on the walls to make all the artists happy. I'm going to get a bunch of cats that appeal to them. And that way, you can also sort of make a gameplay plan around your furniture in addition to just making your cafe look nice.
Wait, artists pay in jewels and not cash money?
Nobody, so we actually, it used to be that people would pay in cash money, but no, artists pay in jewels, fishermen pay in fish. We make a couple of jokes about how stupid this is, and like how in the game your character's from the city, and in the city they just pay with cash money, but out
Yeah.
here in this weird magical village, artists pay in jewels, and like the business people of the town pay you in gold bars, so like don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, it sounds like a bartering system is happening. They'll give you 5 fish for 1 cup of coffee and full cat
Yeah.
petting privileges for the week.
Yes, 100%. It's like I think one of our characters at some point says like, "Hey, don't give me that look. It's a town tradition." Like when you first hear about this. So yeah.
So now that the game is essentially it's here, it's out. You're so close to the launch date.
Yes.
What was the most surprising thing you learned about yourself while
Oh
you were
my
making
gosh.
this game?
That's a big question,
Hmm.
Andy.
Yeah.
Um,
See, we
I
get
don't
deep
know.
sometimes over here.
Okay, if do you want a deep answer as well?
You go ahead. I don't mind it.
Okay.
So what we do, we dive deep.
Like, yeah, one of the things I think that caused me and the rest of Roost Games to want to start up is to sort of feel like, okay, we're really gonna do it ourselves this time. Like, can we do that? Are we able to with a really tiny team? We worked in like medium-sized teams before. Can we do the dang thing?
Hmm.
And especially early on, you do start to notice like I am putting a lot of myself into this, which is good, but it also means that it can sort of the extreme of that is that you're basing a lot of your own feelings about how you're doing and how like how you're doing creatively, but also just how you're doing as a person. When all you're doing is game development, or a lot of what you're doing is game development,
Right.
that can start to take over your life a little bit. And I think we all sort of went through this process in different kinds of ways. For me, I based a bunch of the story in the game around this feeling of like creative output, sort of defining who you are, or like how you feel about yourself. And after 2 years of Cat Cafe management development, I think for me anyway, I've sort of found some sort of inner peace where I feel like, hey, I'm doing this because I love doing it. And that doesn't mean that it has to define me. So that's like, yeah, I
Wow.
asked, do you want a deep answer? That's the
Yeah.
deep answer I got. We talked about this a bunch with everyone at Roost Games, actually, like this feeling. Yeah, I think a lot of game developers or just creative people sometimes struggle with that, which is also
Yeah.
why I wanted to put it in the game in some way. So we have a character that sort of struggles with that feeling. And as they get to relax with the cats and with you, the player, and you sort of have a bunch of conversations with them, they'll also slowly start to figure out how they feel about this whole thing.
It's amazing how that sort of philosophy seeps through the actual game itself, because it sounds like making the game for you and the team was very therapeutic. And then the game itself, as you're playing it, it's so calm, it's so chill, laid back. It has that effect,
Nice.
that nice peace, calming effect on people.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
great.
it's carried through. You've done it. You
I'm
did
really,
it.
really, yeah, I'm super happy to hear that. Yeah, like it's only now, like we went to the Game Developers Conference 2 weeks ago. And that was, I think, sort of, at least for me, and I think some of the other members of the team had the same feeling. Like the first time that we really felt like you just mentioned, like, oh yeah, we did kind of do it. We did kind of
Yeah.
finish a video game. Um, who knows how the release will go? I hope it'll go swimmingly, and I hope everyone that listens finds some time, or if they enjoy this sort of game, finds the time to give it a go and enjoys it. But yeah,
Oh,
we
listen,
did, yeah.
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, we at least we managed to get some, yeah, to wrap it up in a way that we were happy with.
I have to ask, since you mentioned GDC, what is that like for indie developers when you go out there? I feel like a lot of big fish
Hmm.
are in that scene. You get a lot of like huge publishers and developers just out there. What's that like for you with a small team with a very small footprint in the space?
It's really interesting. This is the first GDC that I went to. Some
Hmm.
of the other Roost people have gone before, and so GDC is split up into a couple of different buildings, and there's one building that is just like, oh, I think it's called the Expo Hall, and like you mentioned, oh, this is where the big fish swim,
Right.
and it's just like loud music and big booths
Oh God.
and NFTs and
Oh
like
no, get
yeah,
away.
but there
Fuck
were
off with that.
NFT and Bitcoin sponsors, so there was a
Oh.
bunch of NFT nonsense everywhere. But then, so we mostly hung out in sort of this other building that had all the indie talks,
Hmm.
and in a little park right next to that. And it's just so chill, man. It's just a completely different vibe.
I
It's just a bunch
love
of people. Yeah, you could just sort of
love
sit
this
down in
the
the,
segregation between the AAA and the indies.
and I'm okay with it. Like if they want to hang out over there and talk about like how Bitcoin is going to save us, that's fine. But I'll be
Save
in like
us.
in yeah, like in the park, you can just hang out. Like you could sit down with almost anyone, and if they're wearing a GDC badge, they're probably cool. Just like, hey, what are you up to? What are you working on?
Right.
And so it was really chill, actually. Like a therapeutic, I think, is like you just said that is also kind of therapeutic for people that
It's a
have
whole theme here.
yeah,
This entire
yeah,
experience.
yeah. Like we started working on this game start of 2020, and then COVID happened pretty quick. So we spent a lot of working on Cat Cafe Manager at home, not really talking to other developers about it, like online a little bit. So like I meant, yeah, 2 weeks ago, like, hey, we're basically done working on it, and being able to finally talk to other people that make games about the game that we made was really nice, actually.
Wow, 2 years to make this game. I feel like most indie devs, like they'll take
Hmm.
2 years to get to a Kickstarter campaign launch, and you have a game that looks this polished, and
Yeah, we
that's
speed
incredible.
ran. Yeah, we
That's
did a speed
incredible,
run on
dude.
game development. Thank you.
That's ambitious for a team that's well. That's incredible.
Yeah, I think we've gotten really good at scoping, like
Yeah.
feeling out okay, what can we actually handle? Um, like, in the game, you can go to town and you can visit shops. So we very quickly thought, okay, well, we have a character that you can run around with. Should you be able to run to the village and run to a shop? And if we had done that, the game wouldn't be finished right now because we would have to build out an entire village. So instead, we came up with this like map solution that you see in some other games as well. And like just in that sense, I think like initially we wanted to finish this game in a year, which was frankly
That's
we
ambitious.
we found out the hard way that was maybe a little too ambitious. But yeah, like we had a pretty solid idea of what we wanted the game to be. It did go through a couple of big changes throughout development, as most games do, but we always sort of kept to that goal of making like a relaxing business simulator where you hang out with cats and make customers happy. So like the groundwork of what the game was going to be was there pretty quick, pretty early.
What do you want to be the main takeaway from players after a session with Cat Cafe Manager? They've sat down
Wow.
with it, they've played it for a little bit, and then, they're retiring for the day, hit the off switch. What do you want them to feel? What's the main takeaway?
I want them to feel like they just spent some time sitting in a nice field of grass, kind of looking around, looking at some birds, hopefully a cat, like just
I love that.
yeah, just the ability to, like especially with the whole like there's a lot of stuff happening in the world that
There's too many
you
things
can
happening.
you can spend a lot of time worrying about. And if we made something that gives you the ability to not worry about either those big things or even the small things that are happening in your own life, and just spend a little bit of time thinking about what kind of cool cat cafe you're going to make and what cat you really want to adopt in the game, and hopefully in real life as well, then then I'm happy with the job we did.
That's fantastic. And one last question before we move on to our very fun, very special unrapid
Lightning.
fire. It's not going to be that. I'm telling you,
Oh,
man. It's going to be different because Rick has listened to the show. So
yeah.
I'm throwing a bit of a curveball today. And I'm very excited about that. But before we do that, what's the next steps for Roost Games? The game is out. You've done it 2 years, crushed it. Are you going to take a break, continue this whole therapeutic sort of mantra,
Mm.
or is it just we got the next project in the back of our heads ready to go?
Well, we did manage to like take little breaks this year actually. So that's done. Um so there is some stuff going on at Roost Games. It's not
Okay.
stuff that I can really talk about yet because
Listen.
it's very early. And a lot of it depends on the like how Cat Cafe Manager does. So if Cat Cafe, if people like if a bunch of people play Cat Cafe Manager and tell us that they really liked it, but that they would like to see more of this or more of that, then we can consider making more Cat Cafe Manager. It's a thing that we would really like to do, but the reality is that totally depends on how the game does. Like it's
Fair.
really out of our hands. So yeah, it's like I mentioned, there's some we're working on some new stuff, and more Cat Cafe Manager would be cool, but we'll have to see.
All right. I'm just saying, get ready. Get ready for the next step because I smell success with this one. All right. So instead of asking Rick today what if he prefers pineapple on pizza, do you, by the way?
No, I'm
Good.
allergic to pineapple.
There it is.
I have a good reason.
There it is. I have come up with a very fun little game. I am going,
Hmm.
I've tried so hard. It took all of my will to
Okay.
resist the cat puns in this episode, either in the intro or throughout the
Yeah,
actual interview.
you've been doing really good,
I've
Andy.
saved it all for this moment
Oh
because I
no.
am going to read to you some
Yes.
horrible cat jokes.
Okay.
And I want you to do two things. One, try not to laugh if they're that bad, and also kind of rate them for me, like a 1 to 10.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So here we go.
Here we go.
All right. What is a cat's favorite TV show?
Oh,
Claw,
I don't know.
Claw and Order.
Um, I just felt like all of the contents of my lungs just escaped my body in a big sigh. I'm sorry. Claw and Order.
Claw and Order.
Uh, it's okay. I
It's
don't.
okay.
It's all right. I would give that a solid 4.
4. Okay. What is a cat's favorite cereal? Mice Krispies. Mice Krispies.
I like the fact that you sort of read it out a second time, like you're on a game show.
Yeah.
Mice Krispies. Mice Krispies is a lot better than Claw and Order, I think. So Rice Krispies isn't a thing that we, at least as far as I know, I haven't seen it here in Europe. So it took me a moment. So I'm gonna have to deduct a point for that, but we're gonna land on a 6, I think. It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Why don't you want to play Monopoly with a cat?
Okay.
Because they tend to be cheetahs.
Okay.
Cheetahs.
I mean, a cheetah is a type of cat.
Right. It's really, you're really pushing it there.
Although, Andy, I'm gonna have to ask you a question. Did you come up with these?
No, I just Googled cat jokes and I found like 50,000 articles.
And that's all the podcast prep you did, huh? Okay, I get it. You copy pasted their Steam page.
Listen, I was
Googled
going
this.
for a walk in the morning. I had a thought and I ran with it. I took a risk.
I like. Okay, I gotta say, I am a big fan of the sort of like ASMR energy that you're giving these jokes. Like you're really like.
Well,
cheetahs. I think we're on an upward trend here. That's a 7.
Okay. Why don't cats ever say YOLO? Because they have 9 lives.
Oh, I was laughing at the setup. The punchline is so that's not even a cat pun,
right?
That's just the cat. That's a 2. That's a 2. Also, we don't say YOLO anymore. We all agreed as a society to stop doing that.
We've all surpassed that. Why did we moved on as a society? Why do some cat friends go to the mall? There was a buy one get one furry deal. A buy one get one furry deal.
Furry deal. You stumbled on the execution there.
I did
Andy,
a little bit.
I'm gonna have to deduct 2
that's
points.
on me. That's on me.
Yeah. I'm also not okay. Furry deal? What is that referring to?
I don't know.
Is a fury deal a thing?
It's a I don't know.
Yeah, so
I'm trying to understand it.
These jokes are so bad. We're both we don't know what this is. By the way, is my audio okay? I'm just
your audio sounds fantastic.
Internet. Okay, great.
What do cats you want to rate that one before or give it a 0? Because I fucked up and it's a bad joke.
That's a 1.
That's a 1. All right, we got it. Why did the cat avoid eating lemons? They made him a sour puss. Sour puss.
Yeah, because lemons.
Yeah, yes, because lemons.
Sour. Okay, that one I could see a kid laughing at that one. You know what I mean? Like I'm not laughing at it because I just spent 2 years making a video game and I'm tired. But I'll give that that's another 7, I think.
All right. Okay. How do cats resolve an argument? They hiss and make up. Oh no, did I lose you? Are you gone? Was the joke? I think the joke was that bad. Rick's internet exploded and he's gone now. He's totally gone. But fortunately, I can just keep vamping till he gets back, and I can cut this part out. Let me check my check my Discord and see if he messaged me. But if his internet died, oh, he left. He's gone. His internet died. Wow. So I'm not sure if he's gonna come back. That's a when the jokes were that bad. The first time a guest just abandoned the show at the very end. We're having a great conversation. Things are going swimmingly. I learned a lot about Rick, about his game, about Cat Cafe Manager and all its, fun mechanics and eccentricities. But the cat puns ruined the day. I think the cat puns were too much and it broke the internet in the Netherlands. So now all of the Netherlands are without internet access because of me and my dumb cat puns. So let's see what happens. Oh,
hello.
Oh,
all right. Those jokes were so bad they literally killed my internet.
That's exactly what I said while you were out. Word for word. I think all of the Netherlands lost internet for 30 seconds.
For a brief moment.
Well, fortunately, we could just edit that out because I said a joke and there's a nice little pause, so you can just give me your answer. So I'm gonna reread the bad joke and we'll go from there.
That was hiss and tell, right?
Hiss and tell.
Or hiss yes.
Hiss and makeup. Hiss and makeup.
Hiss and makeup. That's what it was, not hiss and hiss and makeup. You see it. Okay, maybe I'm being too critical here. As a hissing and kissing, let's give it a 5. Down the middle.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is out there. And I'm trying to understand.
Wait, the other ones were not.
No, this is a little out there. I'm trying to understand what the joke is, but maybe my big dumb brain can't figure it out.
Yeah, I'm sure it's you.
What do you call a fluffy male cat asleep on a sofa? A Himalayan. What?
Himalayan, because he's laying there.
Yeah.
And it's a him.
It's a him.
He's male. They had to
right.
Not sure why. Okay, so a fluffy male cat. What do you call a male cat? That's, I don't know, a Himalayan.
Yeah, but I feel like anyone sleeping.
Also, that's not what you.
Is it the fluffiness that makes the look of a mountain, like a Himalayan mountain? Is that what?
Yeah,
what they're going for?
I was just about to say, like, what does the Himalayan have to do with this?
Right.
An Himalayan, is that a cat breed maybe that I don't know about?
Mm.
Himalayan cat? It's a cat breed. See, this is why you have two dog people trying to make cat jokes at each other. This is what happens.
Exactly.
That's a 2.
Mm-hmm. Why
it gets +1 for originality.
1. Yes.
Yeah.
Why do cats hate online shopping? Because they prefer to browse through catalogs. Catalogs.
That was such a stretch to get there. That was such a stretch. Okay. I mean, 6. No. Let's invert that. That's a 9. That's the only one that made me laugh so far. That's a 9, baby.
Why are cats afraid of trees? Because they're afraid of their bark.
I feel like a lot of so this one had potential, right? There's a joke here. That just wasn't it. So that's a 6. 6 for potential.
What should you use to comb a cat? A catacomb.
No, that's nothing.
I would have chosen a different question.
Yeah, that's nothing, Andy. Andy, I'm gonna have to ask you, are you sure you want to keep is this gonna replace the lightning round for the rest of the podcast? You might want to reconsider that plan.
I'm gonna give you one last one, Rick, and then we'll sign off and call it a day. We'll get the fuck out of here.
Sounds great. Let's go.
What do cats wear to bed? Pajamas.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
Pajamas. That's
Pajamas.
A good one. That's a 10. That's the
That's
best
a 10.
one.
We're giving a 10 at the way out. Good. And then a high
Yeah.
note. Rick, thank you so much, man. This has been an absolute blast. Thank you for coming
Andy.
over here. It was a lot of back and forth. We did it. I wanted you on the show desperately. So I told you it's going to happen. And you're here. And the game is here. And I'm happy. I'm excited. So before we say goodbye, until I bother you on Discord later, where can we find, to all the listeners out there, where can they find the game, platforms, all the little social media stuff? Go for it.
Yeah, so Cat Cafe Manager is coming out the 14th. That's April 14th on Steam for PC, as well as Epic for PC, and on Nintendo Switch as well, which we're very excited about. You can find it by just like Googling or looking on Steam or whatever for Cat Cafe Manager. You can also find it by going to Twitter at Roost Games. That has all the links that you could ever want. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Fantastic. And we'll put all those links down below for you all to
Awesome.
click on and follow and purchase and throw money at Roost because they deserve all the money you can give them. Rick, dude, it's been a pleasure. You're awesome. The game's awesome. I can't wait to like really spend the weekend with it. I got PAX next week. This is my bus ride to PAX East. This is like 5 hours I can sink in and just play.
Wow, you're taking the bus?
Well, I take the Amtrak, the train.
Okay.
Yeah, I've evolved.
I hope it's a nice. Exactly. I hope it's a good. I hope it makes for a good bus game. It should.
Right.
I think.
I did the bus when I was poor.
Mm-hmm.
That was when I was
upgraded
like
to the train,
a young gamer. And now doing this podcast, I get support from Patreon.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a plane there and then a train home. So I get the best of both. Because I like the nice, relaxing train ride.
Oh no, I love taking the train. Okay, well, I hope you have a great time playing Cat Cafe Manager on that train and maybe on that plane.
I will. And it's an hour ride, but it's like I can fart. I can fart and I'm done with that plane ride. It's how short it is. It's so goddamn short.
You can start up the game and make a character.
Right. I can just get to the options and oh shit, we're landing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much for inviting me, Andy. It was a blast.
Yes. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, listeners. And as always, please be excellent to each other. Plus, please spay and neuter your cats. Otherwise, shit happens and witches happen and there's mysteries. So avoid all that shit. Be good. And adopt a cat too, if you want one, because they're out there and need love.
Or a dog.
Home. Or a dog.
Yes.
More so a dog. All right, guys, that's it. Until next time, thank you.